Furio Watchers video. This one, all about jazz music sampled in hip hop. To me, some of the best hip hop that's ever been made was created from sampling jazz music. Such a broad category, many different artists, some classics from people like A Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul, Jay-Z. Reminder again, 5 years since I dropped my very first hip hop album out on Bandcamp, so for a limited period I'm giving that album away for free. There's a link in description. I've got 6 albums out in total, so you can have a check of the others whilst you're on there. So let's jump in, let's see what the first track is. So sample there from Lonnie Liston Smith, not to be mixed up with another jazz musician called Lonnie Smith. He was probably best known for Spinning Wheel, sampled by A Tribe Called Quest on kind of Kick It, and the drums have also been used loads of times off that track. Completely different person, this is Lonnie Liston Smith. Jay-Z track there, odd thing with that, it's got the producers listed as Joe Chink and Ski, but that's actually the same person. He started off in the 80s, he was in the group Busy Boys, Original Flavour as well. Yeah, he's produced quite a lot of tracks himself. So great Jay-Z track, that one. That piano just really makes it work so well. So let's have a check of the next one.
Now a queen's a queen and a whore is a whore. She felt if she made me wait, I'd have more respect for her.
Ahmad Jamal sample, I Love Music. Great track, that one, and it's been used quite a lot of different times in hip hop. Have a listen to a recent video of mine about piano samples in hip hop, and there's quite a few other examples in that particular video. The entire album has also been used a lot as well for sampling from. Great album. The Jeru track, produced by Primo, really good use of him chopping that sample up, totally changing the rhythm of the original. Just works so well, that one. The Pharcyde Running, produced by JD or J Dilla. Such a great track, that one, and the drums on it are just immense. He played all the kick drums in freehand, so it doesn't sound like a straight up loop. It was actually over 20 different bars before it actually loops again, so it gives it that real live feel to the drums. The backstory to that track as well, JD had played all the drums in freehand. There was a big argument in the Pharcyde. Some members of it really liked it, some hated it and wanted it to be more of a traditional loop. The drums actually ended up getting deleted, and it actually caused a fist fight between some of the members of the Pharcyde. Anyway, it was agreed that the swing on the drums was better, so Dilla ended up re-recording them, replaying them all in by hand again, giving that great finished result to the track. So let's see what the next one is.
Cause to the cops shooting brothers is like playing baseball, and they're never in a slump. I guess when they shoot up a crew, it's a...
Lou Donaldson sample, great musician, retired now, but still with us, age of 96 years old now. Main Source, great album, that Breaking Atoms. The group that Large Professor was in for that album. On one of the other tracks on that album, Live at the Barbecue, that's where Nas got his debut. So that was the first track that Nas ever appeared on. Sure, lots and lots of you will know it, but if you've not heard it, really recommend that Main Source album, that first album of theirs. Great listen.
I know we won't make it if we don't try.
Never stopping the kid while y'all knocking the kid. Would you like a shot of liquor or like a shot to the red? Look, you stay on top of they grid, stay on top of they biz.
Harold Melvin sample there, great album, that one. That's one of many records that I picked up last year. Guy that runs my local record store, I told him that I was into sampling and looking for obscure or classic jazz, funk, soul, and he let me have access to his basement. Just me in there, digging around, loads and loads of unsorted records. He said there was probably about 10,000 records down there, and I managed to pick up some really good stuff for really cheap as well. I might actually give him another shout, because that could be another good dig in there. Get some really good stuff for sampling from. Method Man track, produced by Alan Mathematics, or Mathematics as he's often known. He's been going a long time. He was actually down with Jizza on Cold Chilling before Jizza was part of Wu-Tang, and he was on the Cold Chilling tour back in '90. Another one of them chipmunk style sped up samples on the vocals. Chopped really well, just works really well as a track, that one for me. Not a particularly well known Method Man track, but I really like it. Really good track.
Brand new truck, butter sauce seat, 4-point something with a low ride something. Ain't nothing better than the ride out the hood with it.
Joe Pass sample. That's another album I picked up from that same record store when I went digging in the basement last year. Another really good album. Such a good guitar player he was. Q-Tip track as well, produced by JD and Q-Tip. And it's just got those amazing drums on that. Just really like the way they smack so hard. Not sure who did what on the production. JD's listed first on it, and I'm guessing from the sound of it, it's JD's drums. Yeah, really good 90s track, that one. So let's check what the next one is.
What is the look? It got something to do with being the man and handling.
Barney Kessel. Yet another album I got in that same record store last year. That is such a good album, that one. It's been sampled quite a lot. I've sampled it myself on some of my tracks. Yeah, really good. Slum Village as well, produced by JD, and it was the group that JD was in as well himself. That's probably their most well-known track, sampling that Barney Kessel, the cover of Luck of Love.
In a single pound. The Black Prophet, one day I got struck by knowledge of
The Modern Jazz Quartet, quite a lot of people in that group. Milt Jackson was probably the best known out of them. Did a lot of albums, well over 70 albums put out. And the Jeru remix by Pete Rock, such a great track. Original's really great as well, produced by Primo. One of those, I actually really like the original, and I really like the remix by Pete Rock as well. Two really great tracks.
Ghetto warfare, heavy metal warfare. Prepare, get on your post and stand clear. If it started, defend it. Started, we'll end it.
Did you spot the deliberate mistake on screen there? That isn't Firing Squad. That's New Jack City. Firing Squad is actually the album it appeared on. Sampling the Modern Jazz Quartet again, and produced by Primo. To me, you hear that track and you just instantly know it's a Primo production. It's just got that Primo style to it. Real dark, real hard hitting track, that one. Classic M.O.P.
Hello, death. It seems that we meet again. You keep taking friends that I'll never see again.
Cannonball Adderley. He's done a lot of music. Particular favourite of A Tribe Called Quest for sampling from. There've been 90s tracks so far. So this is a more recent one than Mac Miller. Produced by Black Diamond. And he's done a few productions with Mac Miller. So yeah, just want to include a more recent one so there's not just all 90s on here. So let's see what the next one is. Weldon Irvine sample there. Really great songwriter, wrote over 500 songs. He was also a playwright, so he actually wrote over 50 plays as well. Heavily sampled in hip-hop. Great use of it there by a Tribe Called Quest, off the Midnight Marauders album. Real classic 90s album, that one. That's just a sample at the beginning of the track. There's another one for the main bit. Let's have a listen to that. Charles Earland, another great sample there. Not particularly well sampled in hip-hop. That's probably the most famous use of him. Great Tribe Called Quest track though. There is another sample on there from Milt Jackson. I'm not going to include that because it's not really doing a full breakdown of them. I have, a long time ago, I'm pretty sure it's still on my channel, done a full breakdown of every known sample from that album. So if that's something you're interested in, just look up Midnight Marauders sample breakdown and you should be able to view it there. Along with A Tribe Called Quest, I think Digable Planets are one of the best known 90s jazz hip-hop groups. Did some really good tracks during the time. Sample from Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers. They put a ridiculous amount of albums out, way over 100 albums during the time. And they are heavily sampled again in hip-hop, and A Tribe Called Quest has sampled from them as well. Two great tracks there. Let's see what's next up. Brother Jack McDuff, real name Eugene McDuffie, great jazz organist, put out over 60 albums. That Scenario is just an absolute classic from the 90s. If I was putting together a 90s mixtape, I would definitely include that on there. Such a standout track, featuring leaders of the new school. Charlie Parker, amazing jazz musician, passed away way too young, aged 34. Heavily sampled in hip-hop. Has had a huge influence on the hip-hop industry. Souls of Mischief track there off their debut album 93 Till Infinity. That's another great album, produced by Casual, and he put out in exactly the same year in 93 his first album as well, Fear Itself. I really like that album, and he's still going strong to today. I think he dropped an album last year. He's done quite a few during his career. But yeah, great track there by Souls of Mischief. Gangstar Manifest, off the first album that Guru and Primo put out together, and he went by the name The Guru Keith Elam, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Absolutely love Gangstar, one of my all-time favourite groups. I've got all of their albums on in the car, and I just don't get bored listening to them. Yeah, absolute great hip-hop group. Let's see what the next track is.
Sex, lies, money, murder, jewelry, cars, clothes, hoes, hats, blunts, and gats. These are the things when you think of rap nowadays.
Miles Davis, Bitches Brew album, immense album that one. Such a good album. Miles Davis has been sampled a lot of times in hip-hop as well. That particular track, not even just in hip-hop, Radiohead, the British group, sampled that track. Michael Franti's group, Disposable Heroes of Hypocrisy, they also sampled from it. Such a great album. Lootpack, produced by Madlib, and it's the group that Madlib was in as well. Yeah, great hip hop track, that one.
If I died with tears come to her eyes, forgive me for my disrespect, forgive me for my lies.
Sticking with Miles Davis samples there, another great track from him. Biggie track as well off his debut album Ready to Die. That was the last track on the album and the only one produced by Lord Finesse. Lord Finesse is another great hip hop artist, great rapper, great producer. I saw him live many years ago. Really great guy. Got to meet him, signed my ticket, signed a 12-inch that I bought from his store. He's really into his hip hop, and I remember 1998 US DMC finals. He was hosting that as well. He's also into his DJ skills, scratching, turntablism, beat juggling.
My skin is black. My skin is yellow.
Nina Simone, really amazing vocalist and great pianist as well. Did many albums, been sampled a lot of different times. Great Jay-Z track as well. No ID on the production. He's a bit of a slept-on producer, I think. He's worked a lot with Jay-Z and also Kanye as well as many other people. So co-produced between him and Jay-Z on that track. Works so well, chopped really well, using again that Chipmunk style sped up vocals. Great track, that one. De La Soul, Stakes is High, produced by JD. What a track that is, the title track from that album of the same name. Again, sampling from the legend Ahmad Jamal. One of many examples of Ahmad Jamal being used in hip hop. Let's check the next one.
Let's get deep into the text. Take a couple years back, how we used to flex.
Cella Dwellas with Good Dwellers, underground hip hop crew from Brooklyn. I actually really like that track. I've got it here. I picked this up, $5.99, and that's in dollars. So I actually got this when I was over in San Francisco, went to M.O.P Music, picked it up in there, and I really do like the track. This copy's really worn out on the acapella though. Long before Serato, I was scratching with proper vinyl, and the acapella of this was one of my favourites for scratching in over the top of things. So you'll listen to it and certain vocals are just that worn out. It sounds really bad. But yeah, great 12-inch. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Just a handful of samples from jazz music in this video. There's so many more that could have shown, such a broad category. But always leave them wanting for more. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe if you've not already and you want to see more of my videos, download my album off Bandcamp, and thanks for watching.